Hello, dear students. So here is the continuation part of Chapter 1, French Revolution. In this, we will be going to talk about that during the late 18th century, that was the year of 1774, when the king of the Bourbon family ascended the throne of France. His name was Louis XVI. At the age of 20, he married to Austrian Princess Marie Antoinette. But upon his accession as the new king, he found that the treasures were empty. There were many reasons behind it. The first was long years of war that drained the financial resources of finance. Not only that, along with this, the cost of maintaining extravagant court, empire, army, and other expenses. Along with this, Louis XVI also helped 13 American colonies to get their independence from their common enemy, that's Britain. But this war added a lot of debt on France of around 1 billion livres. That livres was the currency of the France. On top of it, including the interest on that debt, on the loan, it added up to around 2 billion livres. So a point came, a situation came when the lenders, they started demanding and asking for 10% of interest from the king. King was obliged to pay that. So it all, came up huge expenses on the French government. Most of the part of the government's budget was spent on interest payment, plus the cost of maintaining army, court, government offices, schools, college, and universities. Here you can see around 50% of the government budget was spent only on the interest repayments. Rest 50% was spent on all other expenses. So in this situation, the king thought of increasing the taxes. He thought of collecting the money, collecting the revenue for the state only by increasing the taxes. Even though this measure would not have so fixed, it was not enough for the state. But here the question is that who were the actual bearers of those taxes? Who actually paid those taxes? To understand that, let's quickly first go through the old regime, the society and the political system of the France during the 18th century. Society was divided into three main sections: clergy, nobility, and rest all in the third section. They were known as the three estates. The first estate, clergy, included the priest and other people who were into the running of Catholic churches. They were given the functions to run the church, maintaining the records of birth, marriage, death. The second estate, nobility, had the members of royal family, and on top of everyone was the king. Third estate was again divided into three different groups. And the people of the third estate were maximum in number. They constituted around 90% of the total population. Now, in the third estate, again, an important point to notice that there were certain people who were rich and there were some people who were poor. So the three groups of the third estate were the middle class, number two, the workers who used to live in cities, and number three is the peasants, the farmers. The first two estate, clergy and the nobility, they enjoyed the birth rights. That means they were privileged as if they were born in the first two estate. So they had certain birth rights. One of them was the exemption from paying the taxes. It means the first two estate people were not paying the taxes at all. Along with this, the nobles also had the birthright of collecting the feudal dues from the peasants. The church also had the right of collecting the tithe. What was tithe? Tithe was the 1/3 of the crop production from the peasants. So here we can see that peasants were the one who were paying the taxes to nobles. They were paying the taxes to the church directly. That's the reason why tithe was known as the direct tax. And the taxes were also imposed on the basic usage items also, such as salt, tobacco. That was the indirect tax. So most of the taxes, actually all the taxes were paid by the third estate. But here, an important thing to note is that even the peasants were 90%, the third estate people were 90% of the population, but hardly very few of them were in number who were owning their own land. 60% of the country's land was owned by the church and nobles along with the richer members of the third estate. Here, there are two cartoons which are depicting how the farmers were actually carrying the entire burden of running the administration and paying the interest dues. Rest two estates were not paying the taxes. Let's quickly go through a recap. Clergy, that's the people in the church, plus nobles, royal family. These two were the privileged classes. We can say that as if they were the exploiters. And peasants were maximum in number. Very few of them were having their own land. That's the unprivileged class. And any society with so many disappointed faces cannot sustain for a long time. So this became the main reason of the French Revolution. Thank you.